Hi, Dalmia.
Any your background?
Sir, I already put at the background, but it's not taking. Just wait 1 minute. Yeah.
It's good.
Barney, you will be presenting, right?
Yes. You start that just a short introduction, and who gives that a short introduction? Or I directly we start to present.
No. Teresa will start the presentation and then you can
Yeah.
start introduction and you can share the presentation later.
Okay. I check that the presentation so that maybe the
Abhishek will be sharing it.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Mr. Anupam, yes.
Great. And you can see me also, right? I'm just testing my camera and the mic.
Yes, you're able to see.
Excellent. Thank you.
Full screen, PPT mode. Yep.
now it's move. Okay. Now I stop the sharing.
You can present the first screen, that's okay.
Keep it shared and the first slide in full mode.
Arnie,
Hmm.
where you're sitting, no, the screen, you're getting burnt out. You're sitting, the light is in front of you, is it?
Light is Side of
Right, huh?
behind. Yes.
Yeah. It's burning out the screen. Samrat, can you turn on your camera? Whose team?
Yeah.
Oh, marketing team. Okay. Samrat, let me just see how your camera is seen.
Mm.
Wait a little bit.
Samrat is
See.
fine. Samrat is cool, no stress. Arnie, do
Now
you
it's
see
okay?
how he looks? He's blurred, right? Like there is a grayscale on top
Yeah.
of it. It's a lighting issue.
You reduce the light. Right.
And Samrat, can you come closer into the screen? You're way at the back. Is it a desktop? Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Nice. This is nice. Good. Great. Okay. Is Purnima joining us on video or is she going to be on call?
Yep, I joined.
Hey, Purnima. Good afternoon.
Hey.
Hi,
Let's
Chris.
see you.
You are able to hear me, right?
Yes. Hi, Anupam. You've joined, right?
Yes, I've joined.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't see you. Could you kindly turn your camera on so we can just
Can you
do
see
a
me
visual?
now? Yes, my
Yeah,
camera
we
is
can
on.
see. I can see.
camera is
Please
now on.
just move once.
Yeah, I can see. I can see. You're right. Oh, nice. Okay, great. We are all live. Sound check. Nataraja, marketing team, sound check. Everything is okay?
Yes, we can hear you all. Just
Dr.
wait.
Fiona, can you
You're just
connect and
waiting
talk
for
once?
Dr. Fiona, yeah.
Yeah.
She said she'll join at 4:30. So do
Hi,
we
Dr. Fiona.
have we started allowing external participants yet? No, right? I'm just putting myself on focus mode. If anybody wants to put yourself on focus mode, this might be the right time.
Hi, Dr.
I'm just
Fiona.
wondering,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. Hi. Good afternoon.
Great,
Dr.
great. Hello. I don't think my
Yeah, we
camera
can
is
see you.
switched on,
Yeah.
but
We
let
can
me
see-
try and fix that.
But audio is really good, so there's no stress.
Great, great.
I'll try making you a co-organizer once again, but in case
I
it
think
doesn't
that,
work,
yeah, that doesn't work when I'm joining from the web browser.
okay.
So I think I have to join as an attendee.
Oh yeah, that's the reason your camera is also not working.
Ah, I see.
We can add her as a presenter. Maybe that will change.
We'll try that, but yeah, we'll try that once.
So I think that worked.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Hi.
Arnie, do you want to present the screen once again?
Share the PPT. Share the PPT.
PPT.
First slide.
Okay,
Make it
okay.
full.
Samrat,
Okay,
there is a slight echo coming from your end. Guys, do you also perceive an echo from Samrat? Mild echo?
Yes.
Okay. Let me then switch up my earphone and got into microphone.
Now it's visible.
Is visible, but Dr. Fiona is not in the screen. We'll do one thing. Anu, can you share the screen?
Sure.
Hello, sound check.
My
Just
voice
checking
clear?
sound. Are you able to hear me on from this side?
Yes,
Anupam, yes,
Anupam,
you're
Yes.
loud and clear.
Okay.
Hi, Teresa. Is my voice clear?
Much clearer. Very nice. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, we're good now.
I think when it is Dr. Fiona's time to talk, we'll make her as a presenter.
Yes, sorry, I just had a notification that said my ability to speak had been revoked. So now I can speak again, but I'm not sure if that was being changed from the presenter mode, perhaps. But I am still here, so just so you're aware.
Okay.
Team marketing, you have your polls ready, right?
Polls, yeah, we're adding it.
Have your polls ready. Who's moderating chat? Of course, I will pick up Q&A when they happen. I will pick up the questions. Samrat, if you could also just keep an eye on the questions with me. Then we can do that. So we can divert it where it is something that Anupam ji can, take, we will hand it to him. Where doctor can take, we will hand it to her. And where you should field, we will have you field them.
Okay.
And we're a minute out. We've started taking attendees, so we'll just wait a few more, maybe we'll give it a few more seconds and then we can start. It's 4:30. I see a few familiar faces, names in the list. It's good to see you all here. Shall we start? I think we should start. Whoever joins can join, and we would just have started with introductions. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Teresa Ronnie. I am making, it's my privilege actually to be able to introduce this panel today, and I'm making introductions. We are starting with Dr. Fiona, who is the Program Manager, Methodology Development and Innovations at Gold Standard. Her background is very impressive. She comes from environmental sciences and industrial decarbonization, and she's a PhD in material chemistry. And Dr. Fiona actually works with a wide range of stakeholders, and she develops new methodologies for removal and reduction projects. So it's really amazing. We are really looking forward to having a great conversation. Thank you for joining us, Doctor. Today's discussion, for those of you who are not aware, the name of the discussion, the topic that we're discussing is tech-based carbon removals, solutions for a net zero future. So we are focusing on removals. And in that light, we have Mr. Anupam Badola, who's the Deputy Chief Sustainability Officer and General Manager at Dalmia Cement. For those of you who know, Dalmia Group is a large conglomerate, very respected, has multiple business lines, but cement is a very strong business line, and Mr. Anupam Badola heads it. He's a very seasoned sustainability professional, has over 18 years in the industry. He's done corporate sustainability, GHG inventory, new technology assessments. He's been very essential to shaping a lot of the environmental management decisions, decarbonization roadmaps, and has been an anchor figure in the carbon markets in his career. Anupam, we're very happy to have you. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and for having worked with us all this time to put this panel together. Thank you. The third person on the panel is Samrat Sengupta. He is ProClime's very own technical director. Samrat comes with 3 decades of experience. He's predominantly focused on climate tech, renewable energy, but he is an environmentalist at heart. So everything that he does mirrors the soul of what he does is anchored in environment, people, communities. His background actually is from energy management, but he specializes in climate change sciences, and he did a certification course from Imperial College London. As I said, I'm Teresa Ronnie. I head brand and marketing at ProClime. I study behavior. I am a writer, And at ProClime, we shape a lot of stakeholder conversations for all our existing stakeholders, and this is one of the knowledge series that we do. Thank you for joining me. Also in today's discussion are two very young and vibrant energy to the team. And it's my pleasure to introduce Arni Ghosh, who's our senior manager, and Purnima Chauhan, who is a senior associate. Both of them are going to walk us through a very good 101 introduction for some of us who might need it, for some of us who might need this as a stratum to start the discussion with. The line of thought that they've put together is if CCS can deliver net zero by 2050, or are we going to end up missing the mark? I'm going to now hand over this segment to Arni and to Purnima. The presentation that you're seeing in front of you will now change to Arni and Purnima's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today regarding the tech-based carbon removal solutions. In fact, that in 2020-22, less than only 5% carbon credits sold in the market were true renewable credits. But by the 2030, experts predict that the renewable credits will dominate the market. This shift makes a new era of climate accountability, responsible credit, and social justice. Means that where native community play a crucial role in the development of the carbon project. So today our topic is the tech-based carbon solution like CCS, carbon capture and storage, DAC, direct air capture and storage, biochar, and ERW, enhanced rock weathering. Although we set a target to limit 1.5 degrees Celsius, though that threshold already reached. And this graph is showing that we have only achieved 6 metric tons of CO2 emissions, equivalent CO2 emissions per year. But we need 8 gigatons of CO2 emission per year in 2050. And our achievements is very low. We discussed about the different technologies. Already I have mentioned. For credible credits, that the renewable credit is essential. But I am not going in the deep dive of the technologies parts because of the limitation of the time. Rather, I focus on the market scenarios, so that before you invest in the carbon renewal project, or before you initiate a carbon renewal project, you have a clear and positive thought process, so that which opportunity present in ahead. This slide, we have all technology we have mentioned. Anyone want to discuss in the end of the seminars? Teresa, Ronnie shared our contact. Anyone can contact with us. We will discuss about one-to-ones in details. So now, as per previously I have said, I discuss about the market scenarios, market growth. So in the slide, if you look in the slide, you find that the biochar project is in 2050 is leading, because there is a different reason I will describe in the next slide. But after that, the biochars, you find that the ERW, enhanced rock weathering, followed by the enhanced rock weathering, then carbon capture and storage. Carbon capture and storage mainly means that not taking again because of some reasons, like that policy related, others in the cost related. Also in the if we go for the direct carbon capture and means the utilizations, there is a issue of the permanency. We have to ensure that long-term permanence. So because of those reasons, it's little bit lagging. In that slide, if we compare all those means the market scenarios, every technology-wise have certain challenges, have certain positive areas also. So in if we look in the carbon capture and storage project, in the carbon capture and storage project, first challenge is the cost, and second is the policy related. Other things is the safety of the storing of the carbon which we have captured. Utilization side is the permanency issues. Same time is the biochars is that one main reason is the supply sides. Others is that the application sides. Also, we need to check that the proper DMRV systems, and it is very much good practice if we involve that the local community in that biochar project. ERW is that one of the leading area, but in the ERW project, we have to ensure that a baseline before taking a project. Tracer study is very much essential because if we set a project and after 1 year, 2 years, if we found that that particular type of rock is not available, then it is a blunder. So before set up a project, we require to proper study. This slide is mainly related to carbon capture and storage, regional wise. So in the slide, if you look in mainly in the North America, Latin America, and Sub-Saharan Africa, the carbon capture and storage will lead compared to Asia, except China. Because in Asia, there is a main constraint. One is the technology, second is the policy. So if we want to go forward in the CCS project, so we need to be a robust policy. Also, we need to the technical handshaking with the global south. This slide, I hand over this discussion to my colleague Purnima. Purnima, up to you.
Thank you, Arnie. So yeah, as Arnie going through the technologies, what are the technologies? Now in this slide, we're gonna discuss about what makes a good credit. So first we talk about the credibility. It should be verified by a reputed standard. And yeah, if you are credible rated by any independent agency like B0, or if your credits are CCCP labeled, so yeah, it would be a like really credible credits. Then we talk about the permanency. As we are just discussing about in this webinar, we are discussing about the tech-based removal. So these all are tech-based removal like biochar, direct air capture, enhanced rock weathering. They all are shows their permanency. Like biochar can lock the carbon up to 100 years. Then we talk about the additionality. The project must be demonstrated. The additionality should be additional. Then it's like another point is transparency. So yeah, the project should be a full traceable. You can trace from one end to another, and it's create a transparency. Another point is no double counting. Yeah, you should make sure that your credits not double counted. And the last is like co-benefit. So we should make sure that our project is in line with the SDG. As biochar we discussed, it's really good for a community engagement also. So this is the key points that make a good credible credits. In this slide, we're gonna see that a ProClime vision and role in transition. So currently ProClime is working on the biochar project. In our future vision, we just want to work, see the enhanced rock weathering projects and carbon storage projects. This is our long-term goal. Last slide is your call to action. So as in first slide, like we saw that initially that right now, if we want to achieve like 1 degree Celsius like that, so it's like really hard as we see, because right now we are just on some 6 metric ton and we have to reach 8,000 metric ton per year. For that, we need to take some action. We need some policy that can support these tech-based removal projects. And yeah, so this is the time to scale up, and tech-based projects like the project that show the permanent remove the CO2 from atmosphere for a long time. This are gonna be helpful for our next future project goals.
Purnima, I saw that all of those things you have mentioned regarding the good credits. But if I ask you that what's methodology-wise, if you mention one key point we need to check in particular in the biochar project, because biochar is leading area.
So biochar is leading area and ProClime is working on the biochar. So I would say for the biochar project, we have to see first the biomass, like where is the biomass coming from. It should be like a biomass residue, or maybe it would be an invasive species. That would be a good.
Okay, thank you, Purnima. So I would not take that more of your times, and now I hand over the discussion to our moderator. Teresa, over to you.
Thank you, Arni. Thank you, Purnima. I'm very happy to see we have 45 of us attending this call outside of ProClime, and it gives me a lot of comfort, to see so many of us attending this. I just want to remind us about a few points before we move into the panel discussion. One, there will be Q&A sessions at the end of this webinar. So please put all your questions in the chats. Samrat and I are scanning the chat for questions, and we will route your questions to the right person, including Samrat, as and when the Q&A section opens up. Secondly, there are going to be interactive features in this presentation. So you're going to have polls that the marketing team will flag off. Please be sure to participate because, and use the react buttons, because your reaction and your poll participation is what is going to give us an indication of where we can stop, highlight, give an emphasis, clear doubts. Third part that I want to emphasize is that if at the end of this discussion you would like to have a side panel discussion, sidebar discussion, please feel free to reach out. As Arni said, you can either reach out to me, I'm Teresa Ronnie at proclime.world, or we will, in the course of this conversation, put up an email ID on the chat. Now, I think we should get into, after this discussion that the marketing, the ProClime team has taken you through, I'd actually like to go to Mr. Anupam to ask him, what are some of the investments Dalmia Group has been making towards carbon transition? That's the broad question I have. But under that, given that we're talking about carbon removals, what are the technologies you're currently deploying at scale? And what are the levers you want to invest in? Any thoughts?
Thanks, Teresa. I hope I'm audible. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and it is a pleasure to be with you all. I'm Anupam, working as Deputy CSO and GM Sustainability with Dalmia Cement Bharat Limited. It's almost 50 million tons cement company. That is our installed capacity. And we are one of the lowest carbon footprint cement producer globally. We have a business philosophy of clean and green is profitable and sustainable. And the projects, actions which meet this business philosophy have been accelerated in our organization. And long back in 2018, we started with an aspirational goal of becoming carbon negative by 2040. And we have been following this aspirational goal since this announcement in 2018 happened at Climate Action Summit on the invitation of Governor Jerry Brown of California. And also we have reiterated this commitment in UN General Assembly on the invitation of Secretary General. And we have interim targets also in this aspirational roadmap. We have interim targets also. And we call it aspirational roadmap because there are internal as well as external conducive levers attached to it in terms of policy development, in terms of technology development. And as those external conducive levers also meet, we would be able to meet our aspirational goal. And in this, what we have done from very beginning is that we have kept two baskets. One is a basket of existing technologies, existing levers, which we can, start accelerating on today, and then a nascent basket also where new technologies, new developments are coming up, and we are working on them also. In existing technologies, primarily we have renewable energy from recovery of the waste heat from the exit gases, and circular economy. So these are the three important levers which we have accelerated. And if you see in terms of deployment of renewable electricity, many of our plants we have reached up to 60%, 70%, or even 98, 99% of renewable energy replacement. At group level, our exit figures for FY25 are 40%. So group level overall, we have already deployed 40% renewable electricity. And in next couple of years, we will reach somewhere around 60 to 70%. So this is the kind of transition plan that we have. Similarly, in using the recycled waste within the organization, around 40% of our raw material comes from circular economy background, basically circular waste origin background. So we actually save a lot of natural minerals like limestone, like natural gypsum, by using those materials which are of circular origin. And it also helps us to decarbonize, bring down the CO2 emissions. And due to these important levers that we have accelerated, we have been able to reach to a carbon footprint of nearly 456 kg CO2 per ton of cement. And this is a reasonably assured figure. We have been, since 3 years, we have been going for reasonable assurance now. We have moved away from the limited assurance, and now we have been going for reasonable assurance. So it is also our commitment of transparency to our stakeholders. And this is how we have been reporting for our stakeholders all the GHG numbers and also the numbers that we have saved every year. Now, looking at the nascent baskets, naturally, the topic today is also of that particular area where carbon capture, removal, carbon capture and utilization, these particular technology items fall. And being one of the pioneers in the cement sector, we have in fact taken action on this aspect also. And long back, we partnered with the Asian Development Bank in 2020. And we actually did a feasibility assessment of 10 technologies. And out of them, in the CCU criteria, green urea was found to be the most suitable. And that feasibility study is available in the public domain. We made it public so that entire sector can understand and take the advantage of that knowledge that has been developed. And recently, we are now partnering with DST also, Department in Science and Technology. And they have last year launched a sector-specific call for the CCU in the cement sector. And we are one of the 5 projects which have been identified by Government of India. At the same time, this is just a beginning, and we see immense potential of CCUS in the country, particularly in a sector where more than 50 to 60% of GHG emissions come from process. And the only lever, of course, there are other levers also, but the major lever through which this can be done is through carbon capture, utilization, and storage. And if you see our aspirational roadmap also, that is towards carbon negative. So we are not just stopping at zero, like generally you will see net zero, but we are not just stopping at zero. We are basically moving the needle further and saying that it will be carbon negative. At the same time, let me again say that this is not just dependent on our internal actions, but a lot depends on external conducive environment as well, which is technology development, policy development. We have seen a lot of developments have happened in policy and technology in renewable energy space. And we see that similar policy and technology development is going to happen going forward in the carbon capture space, uh, fuel space like solar calcination or electrification of the technology. So these are some new levers, new nascent levers where we have been eyeing and we have been waiting for those technologies to happen. And this is the external conducive environment that will help us to go further in the deep decarbonization journey of our organization.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anupamji. For those of you who joined late, I would like to reintroduce our panel. Anupam Bardola is the Deputy Chief Sustainability Officer and General Manager at Dalmia Cement. The next panelist that we will now hear from is Dr. Fiona. She is the Program Manager, Methodology Development and Innovations at Gold Standard. Dr. Fiona, thank you so much for waiting patiently. The question I have for you is, what are the demand signals of various removal technologies vis-a-vis the preparedness against major standards? And which are the ones India as a country can focus on? Any thoughts on this?
Can you hear me clearly? Great. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here and talking about my favorite subject. So I think it's helpful first if we actually define what carbon removals are. So and like how that relates to CCS in the whole landscape. So for CCS, you could have carbon coming from any source. So it could be from fossil fuels, for example, the capture and storage of carbon from flue gas. Whereas for a carbon removal, the source of carbon would have to be either directly from the atmosphere or from the atmosphere via plant biomass, which we call biogenic carbon. So there are a couple of different criteria, but the two kind of groups, carbon removal and CCS, can overlap. Both have distinct use cases in some cases, and both are very important to achieve our net zero goals. So looking at carbon removal specifically, I think when we look at it kind of, if we take a step back, there are two major groups of stakeholders here. There are the project developers who develop the projects that remove the carbon from the atmosphere. And so I think one of the examples given earlier was biochar manufacturing. And then in order to fund that venture, carbon credits need to be generated, and then those need to be bought. So we also have the buyers here. And as this market is kind of coming out of a nascent stage into a development, an area of like rapid growth and development, what we need is we need to keep increasing the demand so that the suppliers and the technologies can scale. So in order to do that, we need clear demand signals, which means we need clear use cases. So that will invite buyers into the market. They'll know what they need to buy and why they need to buy it. And then that will help to channel the finance into the project developers so that they can scale their operations. So in terms of looking at these use cases, there are two key use cases at the moment that we see developing under government standards, but also voluntary initiatives like the SBTi. The first one is the use case for residual emissions. So this is when a company, for example, has ongoing emissions that are technically infeasible to abate. We see a lot of this in the agriculture sector, for example, and at the cement industry. There just isn't technology yet available to fully decarbonize everything. So in the meantime, as we're working towards net zero, companies can try to neutralize their residual emissions through investing in carbon dioxide removals. This would typically be done through purchasing of credits. Now, for this use case, the activity, the carbon removal activity or project would have to be durable. So that's something that the team mentioned earlier. It would, to neutralize those emissions, you'd need the removal to be on the same time scale as the atmospheric lifetime of CO2. So experts kind of this time frame is up for debate. There are different values being posed by experts. Some say 100+ years, some say several centuries, some say it needs to be 1,000+ years. So that's something that we're going to need clarity on from governments and from voluntary initiatives to then help the buyers make good decisions when they're purchasing the credits. We also have a secondary use case, which is very important as well. So as companies are on their decarbonisation pathways, they will still have ongoing emissions as they try to scale those back. So there's a mechanism called beyond value chain mitigation, sometimes called BVCM, where corporates can purchase credits as a kind of contribution claim. So it's not saying we've offset here, but it's saying that we recognize we have these ongoing emissions. As we try to scale those down, we're investing in other climate solutions, and one of these solutions could be carbon dioxide removals. So in that use case, there isn't the need for a specific durability time frame, so it doesn't necessarily have to be for 200+ years. We could be looking at shorter time scale removals there, and a lot of the nature-based solutions fit well into that, whereas the tech-based solutions are the kind of higher end of the durability scale. And then so looking at across the tech landscape, India is very well positioned for a lot of these technologies that can fit into either of the use cases. So the first one that kind of I've seen a lot of in respect to India is enhanced rock weathering. So when we look at India, we want to look at what kind of attributes does the nation have? And you have a very hot and very humid climate in a lot of places, and this lends itself perfectly to speeding up chemical reactions. So that means that enhanced rock weathering projects will happen faster, which means they remove more CO2, which generates more credits, which can then help to increase the scale up in the revenue. So that's a really promising technology, and we see a lot of startups that are based in Europe but actually conduct the work and the field trials out in India because of these ideal conditions. Another one as well that I think is the most dominant in the sector at the moment, as if you've mentioned earlier, is the biochar. So I think again, India is very well positioned to leverage biochar projects. A lot of because the scale of your agricultural sector. So a lot of biochar can be manufactured from agricultural wastes and residues, and then the biochar, once manufactured, can be reapplied to agricultural soils to help ensure that it's durable. So that's also another really great scenario, and I think very promising for India. Another as well is I've seen that your bioethanol, your infrastructure is increasing and scaling up. So capturing that, it's kind of the CCS component. So capturing the CO2 that comes from bioethanol and other bioemission, so industrial solutions that produce biogenic emissions, capturing those and storing them using the infrastructure that we've heard about earlier as well, a great solution. And then that captured CO2 can be used, either it can be stored in geological storage in saline aquifers, for example, or it can be used, fed back into the cement and concrete industries, where the CO2 can be actually locked up in those materials. And then another one that's maybe a bit more novel, but also could be very promising for India, is alkalinity enhancement. So we're looking at ocean. I mean, India has a huge coastline, but also this can happen in rivers and lakes, where it's very similar to enhanced rock weathering, but it would be done in situ in water bodies. So this one's more novel, and as we heard for enhanced rock weathering, there's still some MRV, so monitoring, reporting and verification issues there, as a lot of these technologies will rely on modeling rather than direct measurements. But that's something that we're gaining increasing clarity on, like what's the best practice there in the carbon market, so developers know what they can do in order to produce credits in this space.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Fiona. I am going to ask Samrat to do a follow-up to what you just said and take off from where you have left off. For those of you who have just joined, Samrat Sengupta is ProClime's technical director. Samrat leads a lot of the science-based removal conversations that we are having today. Samrat, what are the challenges in India that you see to large-scale implementations of, these removal technologies in India as of today? Dr. Fiona mentioned durability. So, from a buyer perspective, what are the aspects of durability that buyers look for? Samrat, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Teresa, for this nice introduction, and thank you, Fiona, for laid out the all technical possibilities in a so concise manner. Now, coming back to our my response on the possibilities for India and where is the bottleneck, where are the challenges we are facing at this moment. I completely agree with Fiona on the for the possibilities of biochar and the possibilities of ERW, considering we are in the right climatic zone and our internal resources, country internal resources supports that kind of development in terms of the issue with ERW and the new thing which I've just heard from Fiona about the ocean-based alkalinity related carbon removal. The, ERW is getting lots of attention in India, but from a buyer's perspective, considering the credibility of the credit, which depends on 100% MRV or monitoring and verification of the affected or impacted areas, ERW as well as the ocean-based carbon removal, which Fiona has indicated, as she rightly pointed out, it primarily depend on modeling. So there is kind of a uncertainty still remains in this mind, in the project developer's mind, that in the process of R&D, in future, if we come to a conclusion that the expectation we have in terms of amount of carbon will be removed from atmosphere and will be calcinated in the form of various rocks or will be absorbed in the ocean due to alkalinity, may get reduced or may get substantially affected, then the whole investment return scenario or the financial model has been prepared during the investment will gone for a problem. And this is not new to the carbon market. We have seen a lot of technologies, not in the space of removal, but in the space of avoidance, has got into problem in the latter due to mainly monitoring and verification issues, the sampling, the statistical level of sampling not covering exactly the 100% of the impacted set or subset of it. So that is one of the major aspects. On the other hand, biochar, it's a very simple technology. The traceability of the supply chain is very easy to establish that it is coming from a renewable source. The biomass, it is not somebody is destroying forest and putting it into the biochar manufacturing. It is coming from a residue which will be recycled in the next cropping pattern, or it is coming from a invasive species removal which will be further enhance the biodiversity of that local region. Means beyond India, I have the opportunity to see how the invasive species have affected, particularly the southern Africa. The whole savanna grassland has been now captured by this invasive species. And if you go by pure carbon, absolute carbon calculation, if you remove the invasive species and the savanna grassland is again reinstated, the carbon storage that may happen due to reinstatement of this savanna grassland will be 3 to 7 times more than that invasive species, or how big the tree may be. So that's already established. So overall, in absolute carbon calculation also, that will create a negative emission scenario. Beside what you were making the biochar and putting back into the soil with 300 plus years of permanency. And that is the extra additionality the project will get in terms of emission additionality. So there are technologies which are stand logically very sound in the monitoring and verification criteria. There are technologies which is still we need to develop a proper monitoring and verification criteria, both accepted at the standard level and accepted at the market level, with at least certain years of certain confidence level, so that it will not change the scenario as well as the market, so that investor feels confident in putting money. Thank you, Teresa.
Wonderful. Actually, that was really good, because that brings me back very nicely to a conversation I want between Anupam and Fiona, because if you can both discuss this exact point that Samrat has left off on, which is what is the assurances that the Indian market, the buyer market, seeks in terms of future market stability from a registry like Gold Standard. Anupam, do you want to have a discussion with Fiona on this, please?
Thanks, Teresa. So let me first highlight how the Indian scenario is and what is happening currently. So currently we have a compliance market which is being run by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. It's called Carbon Capture Trading, CCTS scheme, Carbon Credit Trading Scheme. And in this, being a cement sector, we are part of it as a compliance mechanism party. At the same time, in CCTS, there is another party also, which is basically offset. So any other company or organizations who is not part of the compliance mechanism can set up a project under offset category. And at the same time, Government of India has also come forward for Paris Agreement 6.2 and 6.4 mechanisms. And there they've identified 14 list of technologies where companies in India can develop the project, and those carbon credits can be exported elsewhere, basically, instead of being utilized within the country. And they are all barrier proven technologies. Across the world, those 14 technologies are barrier proven. And this is the reason why Government of India has kind of a auto additionality kind of thing. Government of India has done that, and they have identified those 14 technologies. Now, important point that we need to see is initially during the days of CDM also, when for the first time India has seen the carbon markets. During that time also, India was mainly carbon credits exporting country. So we were using the carbon credits to implement the new technologies, which were at that point in time like various renewable energy projects, which now has become like grid connected projects have become more like a commercial projects only on renewable energy. If there are captive projects where there are a lot of limitations, for example, in the captive projects, if generation is being higher, then it goes to a grid without any cost, without any revenue to you. So these are some barriers. So those are still applicable, but apart from that, mostly those projects have been closed. So similarly, I think in the current form also, in the current regime also, there should be a mechanism, particularly for developing countries, where initially the organizations become kind kind of exporting, credit exporting organizations rather than, buyers, because at this moment, innovation funds, at this moment, if you see Inflation Reduction Act, etc., regimes like that, policies like that are not available in India. So initially, the only thing India can look into, or the companies can look into, is export quality credits, which can fill the viability gap funding for projects like carbon removal, for projects like carbon capture and storage, for projects like enhanced rock. So these projects would be uh, basically possible to implement in the industry if such mechanism is available. Now, another challenge for the industry is that there are various registries, there are various standards which are there, but which is the one, it's difficult choice, which is the one that will make the off-taker, available upfront. Because we are talking about additional, I'll give you an example. We are talking about various CCP kind of requirements. We are talking about additionality, we are talking about permanence, we are talking about transparency, we are talking about MRV, so many things are there, right? And they are all applicable, but there's one point where I'm saying is, if you want to have additionality, then there needs to be an off-taker upfront, because the additionality says that in absence of that credit, in absence of that particular investment that is coming through carbon credits, the project would have not happened. So that means the board closure cannot happen unless that fund is available and visible, right? Unless that fund has a secure credit line, unless it is a bankable thing, a board closure cannot happen. So if you want to implement additionality, then you need to have off-takers upfront available in the market. Those off-takers are not available. If today, if you see that you want to sell certain credits, whom will you sell? There are no market buyers. So because of these reasons, there are so many projects, there are so many plans which are available to the industry, and not just our sector, but various other sectors are there to have various projects, but they are not able to implement it because of those reasons. So even if, let's say, biochar and very nice project, as Mr. Samrat has mentioned, you have also mentioned, but then unless there are off-takers for the biochar credits, how will you pass on benefit to the community? How will you pass on the benefit to the developer of the project or originator of the project? So these are some basic challenges which we are facing in emerging economies and developing countries. And unless those challenges are, resolved, it will be very difficult to, take up such projects, carbon removal projects in large scale. So there can be mineralization projects where you directly, mineralize the flue gas. That is also removable, because for very, very long time that is kept, and, for millions of years that can remain there. And this I'm talking about biogenic emissions. So basically, there, even in flue gas also, there is certain volume of biogenic emissions, right? It may be 2%, 5%, 10%, 20%, depending on the sector you are in. And based on that, that particular volume also can go for removals. So there are various aspects, various projects which can be taken up. As Fiona has also mentioned, the ocean alkalinity kind of a CCS application. But challenges as of now, the visibility, long-term visibility is not there. And because there's a huge investment that needs to happen in developing country, grants are not available. The only thing the government, the industry is looking for is some kind of secure or some kind of visible guaranteed payments which might be possible through carbon credits, which are not today available. And because of that, industry is not very much coming forward with carbon removal and various other such projects.
Yes, thank you so much. That really helps, Anupam. I would, if Dr. Fiona, if you want to, just book this. It seems like something that we want to represent, as opposed to we are looking for an immediate solution. So I can actually ask Samrat. On the other hand, what are some emerging technologies India can consider while we are developing our carbon removal strategies. Samrat, do you have any inputs that we could probably discuss? Taking off from the 14 technologies that Indian government has, if you have any inputs.
Yeah, hope I am audible. Am I audible properly?
Yes,
Yeah,
Samrat, very much.
Yeah. Because there is a notification that my mic is not working. Okay, fine. Now, considering how we choose a technology, considering there are so much of hurdles we need to have, we need to have a proper revenue stream to justify, not only by notion, by on paper, to make the project at what Anupam is saying, board level closure, financial closures. So primarily, if we I remove my hat as an environmentalist, first as a project need to be financially sustainable to sustain and replicate in any scenario in this capitalist environment, capitalist world of what we are living in. So we need to identify technology which has multiple co-benefits attached to it. That will reduce the cost, both social cost and financial cost, and its allied risks on the project. If one of the indicator doesn't work, there are other 3 indicators which is going to support it. And possibly that's why biochar is going ahead in a much rather greater space. ERW is following up, but still CCUS or CCS or direct air capture is lagging behind, because the sustainability of those kind of intervention or investment 100% depends on the carbon revenue. Where you have in biochar, though the sustainability depends on carbon revenue, the viability of the project, but there are lots of co-benefit associated with soil carbon improvement that has an impact on our agricultural productivity, the reduction of our chemical fertilizer usage that will reduce the N2O emission that is coming from agricultural activity, which actually not been accounted for in the carbon to participate in the carbon market in any biochar project. But any scientific paper or any scientific science do support that yes, if we use biochar in agricultural field, there are lots of other co-benefits which has one, biodiversity impact, positive impact. We have the sustainable agriculture practice impact, and avoidance of fossil-based chemical fertilizer usage. And it's so possibly due to that reason, the biochar is getting more pushed, both from the government side. You may like to know that in state of Andhra Pradesh, the government of India has set up a biochar institute to do research and its utilization, particularly for agricultural utilization, various research programs. So because the from the establishment side, they are also identified the reason, social cost and environmental cost together, identify the reason to support this kind of technology. Whereas ERW, we have the potential with our climate as well as the basalt deposit we are having. But still on the monitoring side, there are little bit of anomalies is still there. In terms, we have to depend fully on the modeling part, and also the catalyst that has been designed by various research institute, including our IITs, which are getting into action. Even as Fiona has told about, a lot of European entity and North American entity are investing in developing model ERW projects in India. Some are in public domain, you can go through. But still, on the quantification of long-term removals, it is still depend on computer-based, science-based modeling rather than actual monitoring. So there is that uncertainty is still there, and that is creating a little bit uncertainty among the mind of investors to go whole hog into that kind of technology. Whereas direct air capture and CCUS, though on the upside supply chain, it is completely two different activity, but its impact on the downstream, the carbon capture part, is almost same. But there is still, I think, at the standard level, there is a gradation being created for DAC at a higher level, because of we are trying for a very dilute form of carbon dioxide, which is only how much 0.04 ppm in normal air to capture. That requires a lot of money, and technology should be very high end. Whereas when you are capturing it from the flue gas, which is carbon capture, not a DAC, that is more easy and can be achieved in India. I think technology is at a $30 to $40 range. You can capture that. Only storage is the jigsaw puzzle we need to solve it. And particularly hard to abate sector like oil and gas, cement, metallurgy, who has the market strength, the money strength, and intention to make this hard to abate sector a green business again, will push the market towards accepting this CCUS technology and make it maybe in next 10 years we can see lot of means not huge, but some very good projects will be coming up in India, when we will be having a government level policy support to solve a unified storage system, either our oil or aquifer or already spent mines, wherever that need to be addressed yet. That's needed at a establishment level, policy level support for industry to come together and develop it, so that per capita cost will get reduced. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. I think this, you did bring up a very important point on the co-benefits, because I know that Dr. Fiona, from your practice at Gold Standard, co-benefits is a very critical part of the delta differentiation that you're talking about. Doctor, do you want to just talk a little bit? We have about 4 minutes. Do you want to quickly just tell us a little bit about what you think India should do to adopt to make ourselves better aligned to register more carbon removal projects successfully?
Yeah, and I think just to come back as well to a really important point that Anupan made about like we need the off-takers. India needs off-takers and buyers for these projects to actually kind of get off the ground. And so I think one of the things when we're thinking about like what projects can India invest in and what will do well, we have to think about what are the buyers buying now and what will they buy in the future. So like you pointed out, there's very few buyers operating in the space at the moment. The dominant one is Microsoft, who buy credits internationally. So you just, I would say, looking at the types of projects that they have bought from and the quality criteria that they have met will be crucial if you want that kind of signal from Microsoft or a similar buyer for their due diligence teams to get their offtake secured. And so a lot of that can be choosing a reputable registry. Of course, I'll be biased here and think Gold Standard is the best, but there are, as we said, a lot of different registries. And the Meta registry, or sorry, the Meta standard, the ICVCM that gives that quality label for CCPs, these are all great signals that a project would want to comply with in order to get those high impact offtake agreements in the voluntary market. And we also have new compliance markets emerging. So one of the big ones is in the EU. Now, the EU originally said that it would only be allowing carbon removal projects from within the EU to be used in the EU compliance scheme, but they're now revisiting that. So I think that's another potential revenue avenue if India is to become an exporter of carbon credits. What are the criteria outlined in the EU? And so making sure that any projects could meet that, so you're unlocking potentially different markets and widening the scope for different revenue streams. And yeah, one of the criteria, the quality criteria that comes up a lot, of course, we have the additionality, the transparency, the robust accounting and MRV, but co-benefits comes up again and again and again. So those need to be quantified, and that's something that we really stress at Gold Standard. So making sure that we pick SDGs and we can quantify and verify those SDG impacts. So it's not vague statements. We don't just want to say, oh, this biochar project contributed to this community. How did it contribute to the community, and how can we be sure that it did? So then the buyers have the confidence to get those projects signed off and make those offtake agreements and pre-project financing.
Well, that's really brilliant. Thank you so much, Doctor. In fact, I want to take a sidebar conversation with you on exactly where you left off on the quantifying of the co-benefits from a community perspective. There is something that has been a little bee in my bonnet for a while, and I'm going to run that by you. But we will take that off this table. It's 5:30. Thank you so much. We have a few questions. I have assigned them to a few of us. I have had a fantastic time. Genuinely, I've had a fantastic time listening to you, understanding the industry perspective from Dalmia Cements and understanding the registry perspective from Gold Standard. And Samrat, thank you so much for anchoring this with Team ProClime. We will see you all again for the next webinar. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everyone. Just like to mention that all participants who have put up their question, due to time paucity, we are not responding here, but we will get back to you through email at your registration email. We will get back to you to reply. It may take one day or two. Don't get deserted.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.